Hi guys, it's Sam from the Unity of Life, and today we are looking at Drive to Survive episode 9 of season 1. Please bear in mind that this all happened in 2018 and a lot has changed since then. Okay, so this episode was focused on the rivalry between Reynolds and Haas, as we are aware that it is common and expected to be a rivalry between each and every single team. However, we are also aware that there are rivalries that happen within the teams. When we look at Outforce India, we found that those two teammates decided to wipe each other out of the race and just didn't get on and weren't very suited to be racing for the same team. So it's quite fortunate that they are not racing for the same team now. So both Haas drivers, they were secured to race for Haas for 2019, which I think if I was Grosjean and I was being treated the way that he was being treated by that team, I think I would have tried to look for somewhere else and seen if I could have got a seat somewhere else rather than having to jump straight back into them, because it seemed that they needed him more than he needed them. So there is a lot of catty behaviour between drivers and teams, and I know that's usually a term that we use for females when they've fallen out and they're having a bit of a fight, but it was just like that. I mean, males are just as capable as females. It's just they're more like bulls locking horns, I suppose, but it was more to do with, you know, when they were talking and doing the interview, it was more like, oh, they've done this and we're going to do this and we don't like this and we don't think this was fair. It was quite a lot like children bickering in a school yard, you know. So a lot of the drivers, like we do keep mentioning, they did start out in karting, and I do keep mentioning this because it is something that not everybody has access to. As a child, you don't always have access to karting facilities, and even if there are maybe some karting facilities, they're not all great. It is something that I know about because I live in Cumbria, and nobody ever has heard of that, even in the UK. A lot of people haven't heard of it because we're very isolated and we don't have great facilities. We do have a go-kart in place, but it's not the best, it's not brilliant, and it's all indoor karting, and I don't think they do any competitions or anything like that. It's more like children's party events type thing. So it is something that I think there needs to be more of available to people, especially in the countryside that are not necessarily in the big cities, and just having more facilities like that could see more people, and even specifically more females going into F1, because karting does seem to be quite male dominant. There are a few girls that do karting because, you know, why not? There's nothing stopping them, but it does seem to be that there is a lot of young boys that go into karting than girls, and it would be really nice to see a change in that. So maybe if you've got a young daughter, or you're watching this and you're quite young yourself and you're a girl and you want to start go-karting, then there's absolutely nothing stopping you whatsoever. You want to be a motorsport racer, then you should just go for it. So back to this like sort of episode. So we see Kevin Magnussen, he used to drive for Renault, but he then was replaced with Nico, and I'm not sure what his last name is because for some reason I didn't write that down. So there was a huge rivalry between these duo because of, you know, one was replaced with the other, and so Kevin was always had this personal aim just to beat Nico, to prove to Reynolds that they made the wrong decision in, you know, replacing him with Nico, and that he was the better driver. But however, whereas rivalries go, Nico claimed that Kevin was driving dirty, and he pretty much called him an ass for it. You know, this childish name calling, you know, you would think that grown men who race around for a living wouldn't be interested in such childish bickering, but there you go. It does seem that they are. So there was a home race for Haas. So if people aren't aware, Haas is an American team, so this was an American Grand Prix. I believe most of the time that it takes place in Texas. I could be wrong. So there's always a lot of pressure on a home race when it's the country of the team, because that's the race that team wants to win, they want to succeed in. And unfortunately, if anybody a fan of F1 has to, I don't think they've ever won or got very far. They don't have a lot of money in this, and it's so the cars aren't always the best, and they always seem to have a lot of issues, which blows my mind, because you know, they do have a NASCAR team, which is motor racing in America, in case you don't know what NASCAR is, and they seem to be quite successful in that. So I know that there's slight differences, obviously. However, it's the same. It's the principles, the basics. You know, it's still a car. So you would think that there'd be, you know, similar aspects that they could take, and you know, there's experiences from the NASCAR team that they could take to the Formula One grid. As like I said, they both involve cars. It's both involve racing. There should be similarities in there that should be able to help them improve. That doesn't seem to be the case. So after the very first lap of the race, Haas did become a car down, which isn't brilliant, because you want both of your cars out there. You want them both racing because you want them both on the podium, because that means you're going to get more points. So to only have that one car out there left, that's a lot of pressure on the other driver, and it's a lot of responsibility to try and succeed in that race, because you're really down to yourself. And especially when that's a home race, that pressure and that responsibility, that intensifies by like 10 or more, because, you know, you're the only one. All the team's hopes is it's now in your hands, you know, to succeed. I don't believe they did all that well in that race, like in most races. So that is all I have on this episode. So please don't forget to comment, share and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one.